Hey yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video out, and all the other good stuff, okay? Actually, by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about what is the best allies and ally combinations for, support allies and whatnot for the DPS role, okay? If you're trying to maximize your damage, depending on what power you are, depending on what builds you got going on, type of loadout you rocking, all that good stuff, I'm going to get a pretty thoroughly in detail about different combinations and how they are most optimized and most effective, what is considered the meta for today's day and age, even with the OG nerf that just happened, okay? So without further ado, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the video out, okay? I know I just said that, but I'm gonna reiterate it to y'all. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Now, just start off combat ally, man. Pretty much everyone knows, man. If you're doing AoE content, Shazam's going to be your #1 pick. Now, if you are using Shazam for the support ally slot, then go ahead and rock Batman Who Laughs. Now, if you're using Shazam and Batman Who Laughs, that is actually a viable option, as you see as I'm rocking right now. If you're using both of them, hey, AoE-wise, use Superman. He's third best. Now, Superman's not option for you. You don't have him leveled up. Go ahead and throw in the Batman right here, okay? This one is the 4th best one. If that's not an option, then hey, Death One Batman is your 5th one. That's 5. If you ain't got one of the 5, then my guy, you need to step up your game, okay? Because especially this is an overtime deal with these allies, okay? Get your little what are these called? The Destiny tokens. Let me see where they at. Where are they at? Yeah, get these right here. Them Destiny token. Get them. And go buy you some ally XP, okay? Some favor. Goodness, my guy. But look, that's for AoE wise. Shazam is gonna be your best. Batman Who Laughs is #2. Superman #3, okay? And then Batman and Death on Batman. It's a lot of Batman in this top 5. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, in terms of single target boss damage, now that is something that's gonna be heavily consistent. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Krypto is gonna be your guy, your dog, if you will. Because he's a dog. Get it? Got it. Anyways, he is #1 without a shadow of a doubt. Okay. #2 is gonna be House of Legends bot. Now these are both, as you see, kind of the blue, the rare ones. They don't require that much to level up whatsoever at all. So there's almost no excuse. Krypto's #1, House of Legends bot is #2. It does do a little bit less damage, so keep that in mind. Yeah, pretty much just that's it. You don't really need any other ones outside of these two. They don't do nearly enough damage to compete with these two. Okay. And now, since we went over the combat ally, we're going to start talking about the support ally and the combinations of support allies. Now, I have a lot written down here, and I'm going to try to show it on the screen as we go through it. But a couple of different combinations for support abilities for these allies are going to be as follows, okay? Now, you can always have Batman Who Laughs, Luck of the Draw ability, as you see here. You get the damage buff of your might, which affects your damage. It's going to be minimal. It's probably going to be equate to about roughly a 1% damage increase if you do get it. The power generation is very nice, quality of life right there. The crit chance increase, now that will actually skyrocket your, I forget how much. I think it's around like 3 to 5% in that range for the crit buff that Batman Who Laughs does give you. The health increase is nice, especially with the buff control. It's going to allow you to do even more damage. So yeah, this is all around a good solid ally to always have, always rock. And you're going to see him in a lot of my combinations, if you will, okay? There's a lot of clauses for him to be in these particular combos, these loadouts, these builds, whatever, okay? Now, beautiful that you can pair with them. A lot of people have been pairing with them already. Some I've highly recommended up to this point, up to Static Shock has dropped, is going to be Shazam. Power Shazamily. It's a fantastic one. When you activate your combat ally, you pretty much get a buff, okay? You get the 6% might, 3% precision. That roughly equates to about a 2% increase, damage increase. So that's pretty nice. That's pretty important. 2%, that's like their hand mod. You know how much damage that's going to do with the max damage one. That is definitely something to consider. And when these two buff together, when you have the luck of the draw, especially that first one there for the Batman with the 5% might increase, that is going to pair fantastic with the Power Shazam, the Power Shazamily, I should say. They stack beautifully well, okay? Even if you get the crit buff from this with Power Shazamily, it's nice as well. It's just a beautiful combination altogether. And the health can even help you with the buff troll in the group. Don't have buff troll in the group, health's just more quality of life there. But either way, these two combinations stack together and pair well very nicely in today's current meta, okay? Now, another combination you could use, a lot of people have used it before. I think Obsidian Shield went ahead and recommended this one a while back, which is pretty much going to be the Emperor Aqua Seaside restart. When you use the Supercharge ability, your ally gets its cooldown reduced, okay, relative to Supercharge. And then since you're getting an ally being able to proc more frequently, under the notion that you're spamming out some more Supercharges, then you get to sit here and have more of the Power Shazamily, which is once again like a 2% buff to your overall damage. So it's nice. It works very well together. Has a little bit of synergy there. Only thing that's missing is the Supercharge aspect of it to get that up. This is best paired with the Scrapless Soul Cloak. Yep, right here. And yeah, it's nice. It works. It's pretty good. But if you're just trying to worry about a lot more burst damage, that's not going to be your cup of tea. If you're thinking long term, this can definitely be something to consider. Now, I don't like personally running this over too much. It's definitely shines better in long, boss encounters or just long ad phases where you're going to be in, let's say, a single room like Terrarium, for example, when you're in a single room for a long time. Now, if there's no cutscenes and stuff like that, that's where it really shines. Now, if there is cutscenes, a lot of times when you come back from the cutscene, more likely your ally's going to be up anyways, and you missed out on all types of damage, whether it be Batman Who Laughs or something like that, where it's just the amount of time disparity and that damage that you're missing out of is hard to justify for Emperor Aquaman at times, but it definitely has a spot in the current meta. You just have to have a more prolonged fight, essentially, or at least a long hallway or ads phase of the encounters that you're going in, okay? So you can at least justify using this. Something like Fractured God Sphere, that can be good if you pop ally as soon as you get in, and then before you get to the first boss you pop it again. That is viable there, able to pop a couple allies off in between there. That's something that you can use it for. But hey, it's very dependent, and you gotta always remember to pop your ally and pop enough supercharges to justify this, okay? So another combination that you could do is a little bit more synergy with the Supercharge aspect of it, is essentially take out Shazam and go ahead and pop a new ally Static Shock for the electric overcharge, okay? Now, as you see, these are both working off your supercharges. The more supercharge you pop, the more combat allies you're able to pop out there, which will help your overall damage throughout the whole raid encounter. Now, like I said before, this is kind of situational depending on how you are playing, depending if you're timing everything out right and you're able to constantly proc this on and on and on. But it also kind of makes up for a little bit of the damage disparity there, because instead of you just getting essentially a base 2% damage increase, you're kind of offshooting your damage with a little bit of I would say about a 5% from my testing. It's around a 5% damage increase that you'll get from Static Shock here, especially at the rank 10 at least, or affinity level 10. whatever you want to call it. Okay, you're roughly going to get about a 5% damage increase based on the crit chance and crit damage that you'll receive from this. Now, it is pretty nice. I definitely recommend that you hit in that 5,000 supercharge range just for the extra 5%, or when you level it up, it will be 6% crit chance and damage, which is definitely fantastic, and stacks well with the transformation card we're already going to use. And a nice little segue into the other one is it also stacks with a Batman Who Laughs, especially with that 7.5 crit chance. Now that is something that is going to be phenomenal here, and it can even, I would say, rivals, if not does better than you have an Emperor Aquaman. Okay, it's more consistent, and you're not just essentially relying on your supercharges to fuel your damage and your ally to pop more. You're allowing yourself to cover your bases, go ahead and have all around just good stuff, as well as when you do pop a supercharge, hopefully you have, Batman Who Laughs, the right buff activated, able to pair beautifully well. Okay, so you can get the 7.5 crit chance, or you can just get the 5% might, or 2.5% precision. That can also stack well with this. The health, once again, if you have a buff troll, stacks well. If not, quality of life, power regeneration, quality of life yet again. Okay, so this combination here is phenomenal, and it will be one of my highly recommended ones to pair with, because if you are able to get all that critical chance and damage from these two allies here, oh my goodness, the damage you're gonna get. Once again, static shock is like a 5% buff. Batman Who Laughs, depending on which buff you're getting, if there's 5% might, that's like a 1 to 2% damage increase there. If you're getting the 7.5 critical chance, now that's where you actually jump up and kind of that range of the static shock ally here, that 5%. So you can roughly, if you play your cards right, you could get like a 10% damage increase off of this, which is pretty massive in its entirety. Now, if you really want to focus on the static shock ally, beautiful segue that I'm doing over here, and are able to use your supercharge generator already, that's something that you already use, you're not changing your loadout, changing your build around a supercharge generator, something like nature and its serpent call, that's supercharge generator, is going to be used with or without any allies whatsoever at all. Then go ahead, pop in the Black Adam, power of a 10, support ability there, so you're able to get your supercharges more frequently, and then once you get the supercharge, you're able to boost out that damage. Okay, now that's definitely playing into more of the old school EOG meta, or even with the new EOG nerf that did happen, this can still allow you to pump out the supercharges as needed. The 35% increase in the supercharger generation is phenomenal, and trust you me, it can do some damage just because of how much supercharge you are able to pop out. It is quite insane. Just your standard supercharger generation alone is quite phenomenal. I'm water at the moment, and I'm even a pop Call of the Deep, which is a 10,000 supercharge cost, quite frequently when I am using the Black Adam here ally. And to have that paired with static shock and to make sure that quality crits essentially and doing it, it's going to be fantastic. Okay, absolutely fantastic. Something that you want to go ahead and try out if your power allows you to use supercharge generation. Anyways, I would not recommend this whatsoever at all if you are going to change your whole loadout and build around the supercharge generator. It's not worth it whatsoever at all. Go ahead, pop in Batman Who Laughs, a much better time. Even Emperor Aquaman with the seaside restart is gonna be way better. Just keep that in mind, okay? I want to make that very clear. Now, another thing that you could go ahead and do is, if you are pet DPSing, a lot of people know I like pet DPSing quite a lot. I think it's going to become one of the metas. One that you could do, you already know, Emperor Aquaman, hear my calls, pet DPS basics, okay? It's a mandatory. 10% damage increase that it gives to your pet is phenomenal. It's going to help you all around, okay? Now, I've always used to pair with that, for the most part, Batman Who Laughs, Luck of the Draw. But you could go ahead and substitute that Luck of the Draw out for Static Shock, Electric Overcharge. Now, I will say that you could switch them out because of one main reason. The control that you have over your critical chance and damage here is going to be almost outweighing just the overall buffs that you get from the Batman Who Laughs. Now, as you know, when you are pet DPSing, you're not using transformation cards, so your stuff is not going to crit like that. So the fact that you're able to boost up your crits on the one weaker points of pet DPSing is pretty phenomenal, I'm gonna be honest. Because pet DPS could crit like normal DPS with the transformation card, that would overrun the meta easily. It already competes very well and can out damage a lot of other powers and loadouts and playstyles as is currently. So then you add on, you tack on the fact that the one like weaker point of it, because it just does so much sheer damage, the crits, if you're able to boost that up, it's phenomenal. Okay, that's one of the reasons why you do use Batman Who Laughs for the 7.5 critical chance of it, as well as the other buffs are just good all around buffs. But like I said, this gives you control, because a lot of times when you are pet DPS and you are using at least a 5,000 or 10,000 power cost supercharge. Like for example, when I'm water doing pet DPS, I use Call of Deep on the might based pet DPS side. Now if I'm precision based, use like Neo Venom Boost, Circuit Breaker if you're electricity, stuff like that. Okay, and that will definitely help you phenomenally well. Excuse me, didn't mean to burp in your ears like that. Rage pairs well with this. Nature pairs well. Like there's so many things that pair well and stack with this. There's definitely a stackable buff that you can add on top of everything, like your buff colas and things of that nature as well. So utilizing Static Shock for pet DPS is quite phenomenal. If you want more of that control, so when you do hit your supercharge, not only one, if you're pet DPS and you're gonna buff Quizlet up, and let him do a very high damage attack, but also get your own damage up and get those crits out there. Okay, so that's definitely something to consider and put in the, I guess, atmosphere, your playstyle, your testing. But if you just want to keep it nice and simple, especially since 7.5% critical attack chance and critical attack and critical ability chance here, it does give you more than just 5,000 power cost, so you could heavily justify Batman Who Laughs going to be overall better. But like I said, if you use some like water, some like munitions, you know, some that has that 10,000 power cost ability that is going to hit very hard, that you're going to want to use regardless of the fact, definitely give Static Shock a try, especially with the 10%. That 10% is phenomenal. I'm not gonna front. That 10% go crazy. You feel me? That thing go insane. So try that out right quick. Okay. Now, if you are more burst based, I want to make sure everyone knows when you're burst based. I want to say more like Atomic. Atomic's more burst based. It's very dependent. Some like Nature, not at all. That's dot based. Electricity got a lot of dots in it. If you're using more burst based loadout, I do have an electricity burst based loadout that I do use. Like the Arc Lightning, the Arc Lightning, Voltaic Bolt, Electrostatic, it's the Electric Stomp. What is that called? I forget off the top of my head. But it's a stomp ability that hits very hard, similar to stomp ability like the Savage Grove or even the Shark Frenzy. It hits in that kind of range. Hits pretty hard. Hits harder than Shark Frenzy, by the way. But yeah, if you're using stuff like that where it's just like burst, maybe a dot or something, then definitely go ahead and give Batman right here from the shadows support ability is definitely going to be your bread and butter there, because, oh, my apologies, I did not mean, oh yeah, so this one can be good, okay, if you are burst based, right, especially in the hallways fights, since you will be resetting that every, you know, encounter of, you know, group of ads and whatnot. This is definitely something to pair beautifully with. You can also pair in Static Shock. If you haven't seen the trend, essentially anything with Batman Who Laughs, you can play Static Shock in for that, if you are utilizing your Supercharge a lot more frequently. Now, Static Shock is going to be the better ally to use. If you're just all around general play, Batman Who Laughs is going to be the better one to use, okay? Now, Batman from the Shadows can be a better burst based power, but Batman right here from the Shadows can also be very good for someone like Nature, since you have so many dots that stack with the hit counter. You're able to hit that 100 hit counter pretty easily, without any struggle whatsoever at all. So you're constantly get the 10% might and 5% precision increase there. Now, I wouldn't recommend this one too much, just because the current meta does more favor some like Batman Who Laughs, Static Shock, Shazam here, you know, stuff like that. Emperor Aquaman, they're gonna be some of your main ones to go to. But there is a little niche that you can find with Batman. Now, if you are not liking this one per se, then you can definitely have more control. Now, mind you, this one's more for like, I would recommend this more for hallways, ads, jump from one group of ads to the next. This is perfect for it, just to increase your damage there. So we about what, 2%, 3-ish percent damage increase. No, we got 10% might, so what is that? Yeah, like 3-ish percent damage increase right there. Pretty solid, pretty fantastic there. Now, if you don't want that, and maybe you're doing more burst based damage, but in a boss encounter, you can definitely use Death Metal Batman here. Cloaking and Snare does have a 30% cooldown, so keep that in mind. It is a little bit harder to justify that, especially with that cooldown, just because it does give the same buff, 10% might and the 5% precision as Batman does. But instead of you having to get out of combat and re-enter it, or just hit 100 hits on the combo counter, the hit counter, you will have to just roll. Now, it does get the added benefit of 40% defense buff, which is absolutely fantastic, especially if you're running something like the Suicide Artifact, the Amulet. I never know how to say this. Lanarius Amulet, that damage reduction right there is going to pair fantastic, even with the Emon's Tether Shadow. If you pair these two together, that is going to be absolutely insane of damage that you can do, and you pretty much won't die, since you'll have so much defense buff and damage reduction on your character at that point. So that's definitely something that is valuable if you are, I would say, more might based for 1, 2 more burst focused, and 3 going to stack it with some like the Suicide Artifact, the Lanaria's Amulet. I don't know how to say that, so excuse me y'all on that one. So yeah, and like I said, you can definitely either pair these together, which can be something crazy. I'm not gonna front, that could actually be quite insane. That 20% might, because they do stack, mind you, the 20% might and the 10% precision plus a 40% defense buff. It's gonna be crazy. Now, mind you, it will only last for 6 hits. They don't extend out to 12. It will only be for the first 6 hits. So once again, it is more burst heavy there. So definitely take that in consideration, okay, for these two as a combination. Okay. Now, I want to also talk about this pretty new ally here. Poison Ivy is fantastic. If you are Nature, absolutely, without a shadow of doubt, is a must-have. If you're Nature DPS, you have to have Poison Ivy, and it's best if you have her up to the highest level, which is Affinity 10 out of 10. Okay, she is going to be absolutely pretty much mandatory for all nature people. She gives an insane buff. It is absolutely crazy and insane and just amazing all around what she's able to do in any situation whatsoever. If you're nature, just run it. That's all I'm gonna say. If you're nature, run Poison Ivy. She is a mandatory. I don't care if you're pet DPS and precision, might, it don't matter. Run Poison Ivy. Okay. Now, the things that you could do with Poison Ivy, mind you, if you are the nature power, is pretty much like I said before. Bamboo Labs is going to be all around a good choice for you to just have for any given case. All around going to be good. Now, if you want to do min-max and you definitely want to control more of what you're doing, Static Shock can be your go-to, especially when you're hitting those supercharges to get in the wolf form, gorilla form, whatever form per se. It's definitely something that can be viable. Now, I personally would go a little bit more towards Spam Who Laughs, just because the crits are nice, but a lot of times you'll see, especially with nature, a lot of crits, since you have so many dots rolling all the time, all at once, you're more than likely your crit chance isn't going to be the best, because a lot of times your crits will just go to your dots, and it's like, okay, what is an extra 2,000 or 5,000 on one dot for this 1 second, which is it's still good damage, mind you, but what is that compared to an extra 50 or 100,000 on a burst ability? You know what I mean? You have to definitely increase on your burst based of the build. Definitely focus more. If you're in a gorilla form, use your 35%er more often, or as often as you can. That will maximize the damage right there. But hey, I'm just, trying to give you all a little bit of advice here. On Poison Ivy is absolute must. Batman Who Laugh is something I like to use more, especially because you might get the crit chance, which is phenomenal, mind you, but you also might get the increased might, which is just going to help you across the board, since you have so many abilities going and proccing all at once. You got so many dots, you got some burst in there, you know what I mean? You got a good mixture of it all. It's just nice to have even the damage increase here, okay? Just the might increase here. Now, like I said before, you could use Batman, because you will get that 100 combo counter pretty frequently, especially if you are having a longer encounter. So definitely keep that in mind. Or even whenever you jump from encounter to counter, still helps you out there. Now, since this is first 6 hits, you are kind of getting gypped a little bit. I'm not going to front you there. But, hey, you got to weigh your pros and cons on that. Definitely don't start your rotation with no dots. I'm going to let you know that right now, because you're going to get gypped out this 10% of might very quickly. Okay. Like I said before, the Supercharge generation could be possible to use, and a lot of people may flock to it, but I personally wouldn't use it per se. Generally speaking, you're going to share enough Supercharge, especially with the Serpent Call that you already use regardless, with nature. So Black Atom Power with 10 is not going to be the most viable. You're pretty much on all the type of Supercharge anyways, unless you're just dying a whole bunch and just getting straight out of it. Then that's the only reason to use Black Atom Power with 10 for Supercharge generation. Other than that, you're going to be fine. You're much better off using Batman Last Luck of the Draw. You're much better off using Static Shock here for the electric overcharge. So when you do go on that supercharge, something like Wolf Form that gives you an increased, crits and damage there, you can maximize and increase that even further. So you see where I'm coming from with that, or even just go ahead and pairing up Shazam Power Shazamily right there with you, okay? Either way you want to go about it, it's going to be pretty fantastic. As a general case usage for nature, I recommend either Power Shazamily, if you're able to get your combat ally quite frequently, or I mean, if you're able to get it, if you're going to stay alive long enough and remember to pop in more frequently enough, then Shazam is a good ally to use. Batman Labs all around just good, and Static Shock is if you're going to pop the supercharges on time, every time, consistently. Okay, he's going to be the one to use then. Now, if you just want to, Jack of all trades, pretty much Batman Who Laughs, if you haven't realized that. Batman Who Laughs gives you essentially Shazam ally and the Static Shock ally into one ally. It just randomizes when you get it. If you haven't realized that already, I'm trying to help you out. Now you can also use Emperor Aquaman, but like I said before, it is very situational with that C-Star restart, and you got to be pretty much on top of it and hitting your supercharges pretty consistently. You know what I mean, back and forth, getting enough damn cooldown reduction on your combat ally to make this viable. Which then at that point, if you're getting a lot of supercharge anyways, you might as well maximize your supercharge. So then Static Shock will be the better one to go with. So, you know what I mean? It pretty much is what it is. I recommend essentially Static Shock or Shazam are going to be pretty much your go-to interchangeable ones for nature. Pretty much anything at all. I definitely recommend that you could even pair these two with each other pretty well together. They're gonna work pretty well. Okay, that gives you maximum control, and it's definitely a combo that is going to help a lot of people, essentially, especially when you're DPS comping. You definitely want that control of when you're getting your buffs, when are you getting your damage increases, when are you getting your crit buffs. You know what I mean? When is these things happening, you have complete control. If you get a supercharge, you get the Static Shock ally, you get more crits. If you hit your combat ally, hey, you get your stats buffed, so you get more damage that way. Okay, so and let's say you hit a supercharge and you hit your combat ally, you're able to stack the two of them and just do even more damage. Now keep in mind, like I said before, this is about like 2 to 3% damage increase for Shazam. Static Shock, if you get them all the way up to 10, is about 5% roughly. Okay, damage increase. So that's what. Once again, that's around what 7-8% damage increase if you're using both these in tandem together with one another. But you could get the 8% or potentially higher with Batman Who Laughs, but you don't have the same control over the crits as you would with these two here. So that's about it. That's all I got for this video right here. I gotta reply to all these people that's been sending me messages and whatnot. As recording. Thank y'all. If I haven't said already, thank y'all for rocking with me. Thank y'all for your support. Thank you for all the love and everything like that, y'all. I am trying to be back. I do have a lot of stuff going on. Have been pressing a little bit. Got a little bit disheartened from stuff that happened with YouTube and whatnot. But I am back. I am trying to be in full effect here. Bear with me, y'all. I do have a lot of content coming. There is a giveaway coming real soon for everyone's appreciation. I'll make sure it's a big one. You already saw what I got, man. I'm gonna let you know right now for my return. I think I gotta drop Promethean lot box, y'all. Not Promethean lot, premium reward box. Ooh, shows my age a little bit. Promethean lot box used to be a thing in this game, y'all. Premium reward box will be a part of that giveaway. Okay, I gotta show my appreciation for y'all for rock with me, staying here, staying sub to the channel, stay tuned in for what I do drop, whether it's DC content. I dropped some Destiny content, which was doing pretty decent. You know what I mean? Like, all this stuff's pretty good. I appreciate every single last one of y'all, and I thank y'all from the bottom of my heart, y'all. Please watch the ads. It helps me out, give me a little money back, a little kickback to me that YouTube gives me. And yeah, without further ado, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Put on the post notification bell, set it to all so you do get notified when I do update. I am going to be trying to update a whole lot more. We're going to be having the power loadouts. I'm going to finish up water here. I got nature coming and electricity coming from the new ally, of course. Excuse me. Also, I will be doing and going over all the time capsules in DC Universe Online and telling you which ones are worth your stabilizers, which ones are most valuable, which ones are most valuable opened, which ones are most valuable unopened. Okay, I go over all of that. I have a series already. You can check out the series as is that I already put up. A good, I think it's over 6 episodes to that series so far. But there's going to be a lot more to come. The time capsule market did get kind of flooded here, especially with the resurgence time capsule. I'm going to do a video with it, with the resurgence one, not just show y'all everything in time capsule pretty much got a lot cheaper real quick. Okay, so you thought you want to make some serious money off time capsules, you still can. It's just certain items. So that's what my video series is going to help you out, telling you which items in particular are going to be more valuable and what's the average that you're going to get. Open up 10 essentially, and we go from there. Okay. Now, without further ado, I don't think there's anything else as far as channel updates or updates in general. I was going through some stuff, like I said, and just dealing with all kinds of things that was happening. Thank y'all once again. Thank you for rocking with me. Okay. Without further ado, man, peace and shalom.